Knights at the Round Table, a round-table discussion on speculative fiction books and film. Hi everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Knights at the Round Table. We are still struggling with the tech stuff. We will figure it out. So I'm sorry to anybody who's watching this after the fact, who isn't on the edited version that I upload onto YouTube. We appreciate your patience. We'll get it sorted. Today we are discussing the book On Basilisk Station by David Weber. God damn it!
More coffee, Sonia.
Really. I'm sitting at the table with my friend Bill, and I'm going to start with general impressions of the book, Bill.
Well, I think I'm biased. I think I read this book since I first came across it in 1999, at least once every year or two. So it's been a number of times since I've read it, so it's one of my favorites. David Weber is one of my favorite authors, but I really enjoy this book. It really sets the scene for the next dozen or so books that are in the series, plus spin-off series, spin-off series, which actually add to the story later on.
Oh, nice. Yeah, this is my first time reading the book. It was Bill's suggestion. He's the one who put it in the bowl, and when we pulled it out, I was like, oh, I'm not sure I'm going to like this very much. But I really, really liked it. It was a good book. There were, even in the slow parts were interesting. And then when it finally hit, like, the climax, the dogfight at the end had me on the edge of my seat. So, yeah, a great book. Highly recommended. Yeah.
So this actually, like as I said, is the first of a number of books, and there's only about 2 or 3 you can almost read out of order.
Okay, yeah.
And so forth, but after that, you really have to read the rest in order. Actually, I stumbled on this series after I think I read book 8 or 9, and then went back to find the rest of them. So
that's how it was for me with the Malice and Book of the Fallen series. Yeah.
So I really enjoy the main character, Honor Harrington.
Yes.
If you are looking for the book, it's called the Harrington Universe. It's books.
That's the name of the series?
Not. Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Or at least that's where you'll easily find it, anyways. But yeah, so this book is a captain of a starship, right? And she has her struggles, both with her crew and probably, the rest of the story will tell it. But she also has struggles outside of the crew and actually going back into her own history, which you get glimpses of in this book.
Oh yeah, with Pavel Young.
Yes.
He's a good villain.
Yeah. Yes.
He's the kind of villain who immediately you want to punch the minute they appear on the page.
Yeah. Yes. He does not strike you as a really good character.
No.
Or good guy, sorry. Character is actually a great villain.
Yeah. I have to say I really enjoyed Honor as well. I love that she was practical and fiercely determined, but also really concerned with making that proper emotional connection with her crew, which took up a good 2/3 of the book, I would say. And it was good, that interplay between personalities, and while some of them were not entirely in the wrong all the time, I'm thinking of Alistair McKean. How would you pronounce that? McKean. Who is serving under the captain when he really feels he should have been the captain after the previous captain was removed from the ship. Not removed, transferred. There's the word. And so that sort of tension in the crew was really well done. The only one in the crew that was an actual proper villain was the chief medical officer.
Yeah.
Whose name I forget. Clearly she was awesome. I couldn't remember. I just finished the book like 3 days ago.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I kind of like it because there is no, what I'm thinking, gender bias, I would say, on whether you've got a good character or a bad character.
Yes. Also, I have to say that I really appreciate that the author didn't write about Honor Harrington, as so many other male authors tend to write about their females in space. She didn't breast boobily down the stairs, is what I'm trying to say. I think maybe too much emphasis was placed on how she didn't feel she was pretty.
Yeah.
But other than that, she was a full person, and how she appeared really didn't matter so much. The exception I will say to this is the description of how her eyes changed, which I appreciated, because you can tell when somebody's angry just by how steely their eyes get. Like that cold rock that descends over their... Like, you can tell in somebody, and there was a lot of emphasis placed on that kind of change in her features, which is nice because oftentimes the emphasis is placed elsewhere. So I appreciated
Like cat twitchy tails.
Yeah. Oh, I liked a tree cat too. Yeah. Actually, that was really cute. Yeah. That's all I have to say about the tree cat. It's really cute.
Well, you're biased on cats.
I am a bit biased on cats. I have 2 cats.
So, what did you think of his tangents, shall we say, on the technology, political situations, and stuff like that as he goes along?
The political situations was, I think, a necessary
yeah.
Diversion, because you kind of needed that information in the background as to why all of this stuff was happening. The tech stuff was I mean, it all made sense. None of it was I didn't get lost reading it, which is nice, because sometimes in a lot of hard fantasy they go so far down into the technobabble you're like, I don't even know what this thing is. Some tiny component in some other component did something. Yeah. But it wasn't like that for this.
Yeah, I think David Weber likes to write the technology piece to frame the universe that he's writing.
Yeah, it didn't sound like like the problems I often have with, look how smart I am.
No.
Look at all the physics I know. It wasn't like that.
No, it was. I think it was there just to sort of place the situation, I guess.
So that was most notable when they were talking about that stream of gravity.
Yeah.
That during the dogfight at the end, which was brilliantly written, by the way. I didn't really need to know about that stream of energy halfway through the dogfight. That was quite a break, but I think maybe it was kind of necessary because the fight was so damn tense.
Yes, and I think it covered about 4 chapters.
Yeah, it did. It was a long fight, but yeah.
Well, yeah, and as they described it, a slow fight too, in some cases.
I mean, yeah, but you're in the middle of nowhere, flying at speed, hoping to hell that in this vastness of space you can hit the target you're chasing.
Yeah.
And I do like that he took time to mention the human casualties. Because oftentimes in things like this, they're like, explosions! Action! But in this you really felt... Like, when main characters were killed, at least I really felt heartbroken.
Yeah.
Like, Dominica! Spoiler alert. That wrecked me. She fought so hard!
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that scene until it hits me.
Oh, really?
And how many times have I told that I read the book? It hits me.
Yeah.
And everything else. I really like one of the other main characters. There's a number of really good main characters that will follow on or through the rest of the books. But Harkness was the old chief.
Yes, Harkness was
actually,
awesome.
he was a petty officer. I jump ahead. He's a petty officer. He was chief a couple times and brought back.
Okay.
Because apparently he doesn't like a Marine he ever met.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And also thinks that the ship's company needs a few extras that the commissary doesn't provide.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's the smuggler dude, right?
The smuggler dude, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But there is a interesting twist between him and the young ensign that he took under his wing.
Is that Tremaine?
Tremaine, yeah. That'll carry on throughout the rest of the books, which is interesting. I'll leave it at that.
Ooh.
Teasers.
Because I really liked Tremaine. I thought he was a great character. Like, there's so many really good characters. Yeah. And you couldn't confuse them really for one another. Like, they weren't entirely paper cutouts of
I have a funny feeling that's why they're having difficult, because they've announced a couple times, different times for movies of this book.
Oh, it's
And
been optioned for movies?
Yeah. Now, mind you, with David Weber, he might be also saying, no, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah,
You know, I think this is his pride and joy, this series, and that. You can get it when you read the author notes that he really likes this character.
Yeah, not for nothing, though.
No.
She's a great character.
Yeah. And so forth. So I mentioned, like, they have 2 side series that goes along with the books. They also had 2 prequel series.
Good
One
God.
is actually, one of the prequels is a young adult book or series with one of her forefathers, shall we say, or distant relative, like in the past.
In her lineage.
Yes. Yep. I think it was one of the original Harringtons on Sphinx.
Ooh.
It's quite an interesting series. And then the other one focuses on, I guess, the Royal Manicorn Navy upholds this. Several individuals in the series is about him, Saganami.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I have to ask, you're a Navy man, right?
Yep.
How did you find the portrayal of the Space Navy in this?
I actually enjoyed it. You can definitely see where he was getting his inspiration on it. It was definitely sort of based upon the Royal Navy. Probably not, maybe not today's Navy per se, but back, because one of the inspirations for this was the Master and Commander series books. But he also drew upon Horatio Hornblower.
I was going to say, there were shades of Hornblower
yeah,
in this.
Yeah, exactly. Some people have compared Honor to Horatio. Yeah. So, but yeah, I do like, I like the way it is. I could see it. And, on the other side of you don't see it as much there, the People's Navy, who was sort of the villain.
For Haven.
The Haven, yeah. And you
Havenites.
could see where they were coming from, too. And you could see somewhat who he was basing that inspiration from and so forth. It was probably the sort of the Soviet Union style. It had a lot of that to it. Maybe not completely, but definitely a lot of it in there.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah.
I was struggling to place it, but you're right.
Yeah.
You are correct. It was the cat.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to think what else to say.
It was a good book. The end. Were there any characters that you thought fell flat or were not especially well fleshed out? Or their motive seemed a bit meh?
My problem is I've read the whole series, so some of them get fleshed out later on.
Oh, okay, yeah, so...
To some extent, I'm thinking, was it... I'm trying to remember his name. It's one of the admirals that was beached, basically, in there, and they kept coming back to him to feel out his opinion on the whole affair.
Oh, the one who was sort of on half pay.
Yeah.
Oh, what was his name?
White something...
Right, okay.
Yeah,
we don't know much about him.
No.
Other than he was good friends with the dude that came and visited him.
Yeah. So, there's a few things like that, I think. But, again, like I said, they build those characters. David builds those characters up later in other books, too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I really wanted to... I almost wanted to roll my eyes at Pavel Young, because I'm like, oh, come on, this is so stereotypical. Like, the rich brat...
Yeah.
Who has gotten away with everything despite his failings because of rich family connections. Oh, please. But then I look at the world, I'm like, yeah, accurate. Totally, completely, yep.
Yep.
Absolutely believable.
And he still escapes punishment. Sorry,
Yeah.
spoiler alert.
Well, he escapes punishment in that he's still on duty, I guess.
He was never beached.
Yeah. Should have been court-martialed.
And there's
Flayed publicly.
Yeah, and there's a scene there where Honor realizes she made a mistake, where Pavel was concerned way back when.
Oh, yeah, when she should have pressed charges but didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, she likely would not have won if this world is written the way it is.
Yeah.
It'd be her word against his, and he was too rich to fail.
Yeah. Too many people backing him.
Yeah, that hit a little close to home. Too real, guys, too real. God. Yeah, there was really nothing in this book that made me angry. There were no, like, glaring tropes that made me go, oh, this is silly. Or there were no points in the plot that felt like the plot was driving the characters rather than the other way around. So, as I've probably said it 1,000 times, for me, if the characters don't drive the plot in a book, I completely get ripped out of the book. It's so obvious to me when character behavior is being crammed in just to match how the book is supposed to go, because that's what the outline said, and I'm sticking to it, god damn it! It's obvious to me, and never at one point did I feel that was the case with this book. It all flowed very naturally, and the characters didn't do anything odd or wrong that made me go, wait a second! So yeah, it was
he's
good.
able to write so it pulls the emotion out of you as well.
Yeah. God.
That's one instance, yeah.
That's the one that hit me the hardest. I mean, McBride made it through, right? Like, she got her right side crushed.
Yeah.
But she made it through.
She made it through, yeah.
That fight, that dogfight at the end was so well written. Yeah. Just pieces of shit flying off everywhere. The enemy captain being like, how many times do we have to hit this thing?
To kill it.
Yeah. That was great. That end fight, so well done.
Yeah.
My dad got mad at me. You're just gonna sit there and read? Yes, Dad. Shh.
Yeah, I do get when I do get wrapped up in the books, my family sort of just avoids me.
Yeah, that would
because
be nice.
they look at the book. Okay, he's involved.
He's reading.
Yeah. So, again, like I said, this is one of my favorite series. And I think this was a really good start to that series. And that, so.
Yeah, it is definitely a great way to kick off a series. An officer, basically caught in an impossible situation, will be punished no matter what happens, ends up punished, drags her crew kicking and screaming into a cohesive unit finally, and then ends up basically saving the world.
Yes.
Saving the kingdom.
Yeah.
The interplanetary kingdom.
Yeah. See, that she does. And you did actually sort of gloss over McKinnon a little bit, because he was actually her XO, her executive officer. So he's sort of...
McKean.
McKean, sorry.
Yeah, Alistair McKean.
Alistair McKean.
Yeah,
he's the XO, which is basically her right-hand guy, and no support there.
Yeah, other than the absolute bare minimum doing his duty thing.
Yeah. Oops.
Sorry, we just had phone noises from the peanut gallery followed by a sorry.
Which probably got amplified.
There was one thing in the writing, which I'm going to pull up now, which made me think that maybe the editor skipped, because the direct link was fail not in this charge at your peril, which had me sitting there going, wait, I think they're squashing two things together, as in fail not in this charge, or fail at your peril. But fail not at your peril means you should fail, because otherwise you're going to face consequences. And I'm like, wait a second, is that how... And it, honestly, I sat there for ages trying to puzzle it out, and I think it should have been fail in this charge at your peril, not fail not in this charge at your peril. But that's, like, literally the only thing that I picked up. But it did stop me, and I went, wait a second.
I'd be curious to do a bit of research on that.
Yeah, right?
Because that sounds very, very formal. He's pulled that from somewhere.
Yeah, well, see, I'm sure that the phrase would be fail at your peril, right? So you just take out in this charge, and it means the same thing. Mm-hmm. But fail not at your peril?
Yeah.
Also, there are two things that made me laugh. One, that the Admiral of the Red Lady Sonia.
Oh, yeah.
Red Sonia. I laughed so hard.
Admiral of the Red Sonia.
Yeah. Red Sonia. Also, I can't remember who says it, but somebody says, make it so, Helm. And then I started laughing again, because I'm like, ha ha ha, Picard. Ha ha ha. And that's...
Actually, come to think of it, I think she says it.
Is it Honor? What am I, French? Is it Honor who says it?
I think so.
Yeah, oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I laughed. It was great. Yeah. Alright. Since we have nothing really else to say, I guess, unless you have other things that you want to add, because
No.
otherwise I can go to final thoughts.
Otherwise, I'll go into spoilers.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've already said some spoilers here. You shouldn't be watching this unless you've read the book. Probably should have put that disclaimer at the beginning. Alright, final thoughts and star rating.
Well, I can't say enough about the book. It's one of my favorites. I'm bound to read it again. Probably many times. Probably, along with the rest of the books or the series. So I give it a 5.
Pretty close to 4.5 for me. It's a great book. It's the techno babble that sort of, because even though I could follow it, I'm like, I don't care. Genuinely, what interests me about any fiction is the interplay between characters. The background stuff is great, but I didn't need to know how the what's-it sails worked in order for me to believe that the ships could move at the speed faster than the speed of light. It wasn't necessary. It was interesting, some of it, but yeah. Also, breaking up the dogfight with the Gravweight was... I wanted the fight, damn it! Anyway, yeah, so 4.5 for me. I really like Honor Harrington. I think she's a fantastic character. And will be buying this book to add to my bookshelf. When I buy another bookshelf. I'm out of room.
Like to the next book in the series.
Oh, God. Alright, and so next month's book will be... Drum roll.
Where's the drum?
There is no drum.
Very muted one.
I can't read that, actually. The Unearthing?
The Unearthing by Steve... Carman... Whose writing is this? This is not my writing.
It's not mine because I don't know that book.
Never heard of it.
Steve Wensnook? Wasnook?
The Unearthing?
Yes.
Watch
1 second.
The Unearthing. Okay, so Unearthing. I guess I'm gonna have to spell it all out.
Yeah, because otherwise it's unearthly.
What is it?
The Unearthing.
The Unearthing by Steve something or other.
Hey Google, who wrote the
Oh, here we are.
Here is information from Wikipedia.
Steve Carmazanuk. There we go. There was no E in this one. Steve Carnazan... Oh, fuck. Some Steve. I'm sorry.
Steve
I am
K.
Steve K. I am so sorry. The author of this book. Right. The Unearthing is the next book. We'll be reviewing that in a month. If you have any thoughts about... On Basilisk Station, leave them down in the comments below, or you can go to our Discord if you are one of our Patreons and have a chat there. Don't forget to like and subscribe for those of you on YouTube. Thanks very much for sticking with us. Bye!